Hey again. Today we're going to talk about Jack and the Beanstalk again, but this time we're going to talk about the sounds of the story. To completely understand a story or comprehend a story, it helps to have all of our senses awake and to activate our imagination. So we're going to talk about some of the sounds in the story. Can you think of any sounds that you would hear if you were there with Jack? Think about the story. Think about the things that happened in the story. If you want to, you can pause the recording and go get your fairy tale book so that you can look at the pictures again and be reminded of what went on. What sound do you think Milky White makes? You should all know this one. Remember Milky White? Milky White is the cow, right? What sound do you think she would make as Jack was taking her to the market, trying to take her into town to sell her? She might say, moo, right? Yeah. So how do you think when Jack traded Milky White for the beans, we know how his mother reacted when she got home. You do an impression of Jack's mom. What do you think? How do you think she acted? What? Has your mom ever done that? Has your mom ever been upset at something you did and said, oh, Jack's mom wasn't very nice to him. She said, you fool, you idiot. Your mom probably hasn't said that to you, right? But she may have been upset by something you've done, right? So can you kind of hear her voice when we're reading through the story? When she's upset with Jack? Yeah. Let's pretend that we're climbing up the beanstalk. Climbing the beanstalk. What do you hear? When you're climbing the beanstalk, do you think that you would hear the leaves and the stems crunching? Would you hear the wind blowing through the beanstalk? Maybe. And how about when the ogre was coming and you feel the house start to shake? How would you feel? Fee, fi, fo, fum. That would be scary, wouldn't it? If you felt the ground shaking beneath you, that would be really scary. What does you make the voice of the ogre and you say, fee, fi, fo, fum. Good job. How does the golden harp sound? What do you think the harp sounds like? It might sound something like our page turn, sound. Something like this. Oh, if it's not going to work now. Yeah. Could sound like any of those, Might sound like that. And after the harp makes the music and the ogre falls asleep, he starts to snore. And the story says his snoring shakes the whole house. What do you think that would sound like? Do you have anybody at your house that snores? I have someone at my house that snores too. It's really loud. Shh. Shh. Is that what it sounds like at your house? You make a snoring sound. Good job. How do you think the ogre would sound when he was yelling and chasing after Jack? Do you think the ogre has a voice like this? Or when you listen to the story, does the ogre have a voice like this? It's all up to you in your head, right? When you use your imagination. When Mrs. Keeler was reading it out loud to you, I used my own voice. And I did the ogre's voice like this, loud and mean. Is that what you pictured it like? Or did you picture it in a different voice? And that's okay. However you pictured it, that's called using your imagination. What do you hear when Jack is chopping down the beanstalk? Do you hear? Is that the sound that you hear? Sound of the axe? Yeah, so remember that it's really important when you listen to stories or when you read stories to yourself to engage your imagination and think, what would that sound like? Or what would it smell like when the ogre's wife was cooking up calves for his breakfast, or oxen? Okay, think about what it would sound like or look like or smell like in the story, and that will help you to understand the story even more. Okay? Have a great one.